Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be wrapping up or recapping basically the first season or the first patch kind of thing of Battle for Azeroth as I'm sitting here on the eve of the raid coming out tomorrow, the new raid Tel Dazar coming out tomorrow, and yeah, it's a perfect time to kind of recap what happened here in the first patch. So this was a much maligned first patch. As everyone knows, the leveling experience was pretty cool. We saw people actually joining up in groups to level up faster. There's experience bonus, I suppose, for doing that. And we saw some really quick leveling up. Tons of people on for the initial launch, and that's how it all started. So it started with a bang. When we got to Azeroth, that's when probably the first big downfall went. People did not like the Azeroth system whatsoever. Um, at first you couldn't even get it from like your Mythic Plus stuff or anything like that until they changed it. And so that was definitely a huge downfall. Now they've made changes to that already to fix that. They increased the ways you can get Azure gear. You can purchase it from the vendor now as well. And then they are also adding more trades and stuff like that to give people a little bit more choices on it. And they also decreased the gold to reforge your Azurite pieces as well. So they have made changes to it, but that was definitely a big downfall in the first patch was the Azure system in general. I like the changes that they made, and hopefully it keeps evolving. Although it's almost pointless to continue, like even if they have it figured out by the last patch, like 8.4 or whatever. It's almost pointless because it's not like they're going to roll over that same system into the next expansion. So unless they do something similar somewhere down the line, there's nothing really for them to learn from. We have the Azurite power that was implemented a lot better than artifact power in Legion. So most people are kind of already caught up to a certain area now. For really hardcore people, they're like, well, why do these people get to be closer to me than what they deserve to be? For example, someone might say. And that's fair for the really hardcore people, but you're still ahead of them. Those people still aren't going to catch you or anything like that. It just allows them to be an earshot, and I appreciate that as well as someone who doesn't get to farm everything constantly. So definitely good there. PvP was really fun for me. Probably the first 3 quarters of this. It has fallen off though, as almost like as they've tuned things. It's almost gotten less fun for some reason. That doesn't intuitively make sense, but it's almost like I just am not having as much fun, frankly. I it's not even that I was playing an OP class or anything. It's just I've had less and less fun with it. They made leveling a lot easier during this time, although this is a very recent change. That's definitely a good change. That's definitely something great. They've had to tweak a lot of things with Mythic Pluses, nerfing some things that needed nerfed, for example, that were just a little bit too powerful. But Mythic Pluses are still a really popular thing to do. It definitely shows some prestige. Some people care a lot more about Mythic Plus score than what raid bosses you've killed, for example. So that's definitely an interesting thing still going on in the game. As far as some other things I'm kind of down on, gold making I don't think is very strong right now for a casual player like me. Unless you're just like a casual auction houser, that could be still lucrative, but you don't get as much gold from mission boards anymore. They did up the gold a little bit from that and from world class, but not a ton because they're trying to incentivize people doing world class, and yeah, and then just in general, like the items that you get from the PvP or from the island expeditions, I don't think they're quite rare enough because those don't sell for crap anymore either. So that's not great either. Um, the last thing I want to touch on is something big and it's an elephant in the room. So people could probably accuse me from being a fanboy a little bit for World of Warcraft or Blizzard or whatever. But one thing that's just been a huge fail is War Mode. War Mode never worked. It's probably never going to work. Unless, I mean, they'd have to make some drastic changes that they haven't been willing to do yet. But War Mode has been a failure. Most people don't play with War Mode on, well, especially most Alliance. Horde can just freely play with War Mode on without really any too big of a worry, unless an Alliance, PvP raid group happens to be in that zone at the time. Other than that, there's like no casual worry of Alliance doing anything to you if you're Horde. So for Horde, it's just free extra loot, and for Alliance, it just doesn't exist for the most part. I'm being very general, of course, but that is the general consensus of what's going on with that. They need to figure this out and change it. It's not really right that the Horde just get a general advantage over the Alliance like that. Because people are not just going to start playing Alliance unless you give us just the best PvP racial ever, like the humans once had. Unless you do something like that again, the numbers are never going to balance out. Horde characters seem to be more fun to play. There's this general perception that Alliance players are all children or something like that, or whatever. I don't even know what the perception is, but like there's a negative perception about Alliance players, whereas Horde players have this perception of like elitist, powerful type players, and that's not necessarily true. Of course, there's those things on both sides, and the Horde have more, but I think they have more of each because they just have more population, and they definitely have more of the better players because of the amount of guilds clearing things and stuff like that shows that. So that's fair as well. But yeah, Wormwood's been a huge failure. That'll be the thing that if they don't address this at all and don't make any fixes to it by the end of the expansion, I probably will end up having a pretty negative review on the expansion. This was a big deal. This was a cornerstone, and they need to get it fixed. Period. I will cape up for them a lot. I will fanboy out for them a lot. This is something I'm not going to let stand personally. And they need to get that fixed. But yeah, so that's my review of season one, the things that I wanted to talk about, the things that affected me the most. Let me know what you guys thought about the first season of it. Probably a lot of negativity, but maybe you guys have some positive stuff that I didn't think of. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel if any of my videos have ever helped you, or you just like the videos at all. I appreciate that a lot. And other than that, everybody have a good one.